So this is part 7 of 7 on the attack on Bree and Kayli Lasley, the aftermath. So some of you have been following this story, maybe thinking, 6 minutes. It's not that long. Go watch a UFC fight. Just search out anyone on YouTube. And keep in mind that these fighters train and condition for their fights. A UFC round is 5 minutes, and they aren't engaged for the full 5 minutes, meaning they aren't constantly throwing hands, throwing kicks, grappling for the entire 5 minutes. But at the end of each round, those guys are pretty tired. They're pretty smoked, even after all that training and conditioning. Bree and Kayli Lasley, with no training, fought for a full 6 minutes with an advantaged attacker. They became that 7%, that fought back. And it wasn't for a championship belt. It was for something more valuable, their lives. Since that night in September of 2015, Bree has been leading the charge for women's self-defense, a calling from her higher power. But that said, now follow me on this. She went through an extremely traumatic event. She went through that traumatic event with her sister. Some of her wounds were 4.5 inches deep. By all medical professional accounts, she shouldn't have survived. But she did. Literal inches from her life at the hands of a deranged attacker. Every day, she lives with the memory of hearing her sister's screams as they fought for their lives. Follow me? But Bree, if we've learned anything from her, about her, she's a warrior. Her calling is now raising awareness for women's self-defense and the absolute need for women to know how to protect themselves. Part of this calling includes having to tell that story over and over again. I'm sure a portion of it is cathartic, but I know, based on listening to Bree, how extremely difficult telling that story can be. I struggled incredibly telling it, and I didn't live it. I'm struggling now. But she does it for a greater good. She does this with the hopes that women never have to experience anything like Bree and her sister did. Bree has started multiple organizations to bring attention to women's self-defense. Fight Like Girls and the Buy Movement. I encourage you to search these out. She's worked with the developers of self-defense tools for women. Remember the Go Guarded handheld and the DAD device? That's Bree. There's so much more to this story that I could go into, but I don't know that I could do it effectively. I don't know that I could do it the appropriate justice. Telling the story to you folks here has mentally kicked my ass. I hope I honored this story and the legacy that Bree's created appropriately. My personal objective in telling this story was to not only provide self-defense related context and technique related information, but to also lend my voice to anyone who may have heard this and take this advice, take some knowledge from it. If you want to hear the story directly from Bree, check out the Spotify podcast, Courtney Beyond the Cake. Bree Lasley, Why My Fight Isn't Over. To wrap this up, as you go through your day, your days, and you think of that statistic that 1 in 4 women experience an SA-related event, and that of that 1, only 7 will fight to the end. Think of Bree waving her battle flag that reads, "Fight like girls, because you're worth fighting for." Again, I hope you all gained some knowledge from this. Don't forget to share, follow, comment. Let me know what you think. And as always, I hope you all have an awesome day.